What's up, movie fans, and welcome to the third installment of our podcast called Cridiculous. My name is Raph,
And Daniel.
and today we got a really cool film that is out on Apple TV. It's awesome. The film is called Greyhound. Features Tom Hanks, directed by Aaron Schneider, and recommended to us by our good friend Colton.
It was a little bit heavier movie than we were intending. We were seeing a little bit more of a storyline and something that brought you in, and something with cinematography, which this was, but it based more solely towards the Battle of the Atlantic, which was coined by Winston Churchill, who wanted to emphasize the importance and the greatness of this confrontation. Quick history lesson: the Battle of the Atlantic was in World War II, and U.S. was fighting German forces in an attempt to get supplies and men and guns and food to the war front. German U-boats were actually destroying just cargo ships of food and supplies and weapons, and the Navy was in charge of defending those. With that, we'll jump right into the movie. It follows the story of the USS Keeling, which is codenamed Greyhound in the movie, and it actually details the accounts of its captain. And I want to express that deeply for anyone that wants to watch this movie. It doesn't go into the individual stories of the crew. It follows the stress and emotion of its captain, and how much command actually takes a toll on you and everything that they go through as a crew.
Absolutely.
What did you think about the movie, Raph?
It was stressful. I'm stressed.
It, definitely.
I'm stressed.
Why do you think I'm drinking?
Well, you know, I literally, while we were watching the film, I was on Amazon Prime ordering like a bunch of stress balls because I just can't take it. It was too much for me. I had to think about it, and I want to ask you this question because obviously you serve in the military, so thank you for your service. But as a member of the military, what was going on through your head as you were watching this play out?
Obviously, I was completely analytical of all of the orders that were coming through to the bridge, and all of the phraseology that was being used. But honestly, it was just intense stress. The entire movie, we were on the edge of our seats. We were constantly clenching our fists, clenching our toes, just waiting for the next thing to happen. And it was really exhausting trying to keep up with all the emotions of Tom Hanks and the crew on the bridge of the USS Keeling.
Yeah, I was going to say, they crammed a whole lot into like a minute and 30-something odd seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was...
I'm sorry, an hour and 30-something odd minutes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a specific segment.
Well, that too. You know, everything was packed.
It was emotionally exhausting. It was completely captivating, and as initially, whenever we started watching the movie, it looked like a low budget film. It looked like Tom Hanks was young. It was very difficult to kind of put a point on what was going on in the first 10 minutes of the movie, because it played upon an mostly irrelevant love story, which I think was trying to show that most of the people in World War II were leaving their lives, their family, their loved ones, their future to go and fight this war.
But that's the thing. If you're going to touch on it, go there.
You're right. You're
there.
right.
You know,
I completely agree.
They hit you with a Casablanca type line, and then you're like, oh, you know, wherever you are, I will follow.
Yeah.
But that was all, you know?
I would say that that's probably the only part of the movie that I didn't particularly care for, because at that point you weren't emotionally invested into the character, but you were starting to get emotionally invested, and once you realized it had nothing to do with that, you went into the confrontation, the battle, the action. So one thing that I really liked about this movie is that in between all of the action sequences and the stress and emotion that you were feeling, they had a moment of calm in the movie where they kind of panned up from the convoy and went into the clouds, and they showed the aurora borealis. And I think that was to signify that it was a calm before the storm, because right after that, boom, it gets right back into it, right back into everything. What was your part?
I would say that Captain Cross, the guy was nonstop. Literally nonstop, to the point of where he was always on his feet. He was never eating, and I love food. Now, here's the thing.
They did do a really good job of showing that he didn't eat, he didn't sleep.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, absolutely. You know, so he was always at attention, always watching, and always on call. Yeah, they did a good job of that.
I think at one point they actually emphasized how much he was on his feet because his heels were bleeding. They actually showed his footprints in blood across the bridge, signifying that he was on his feet for so long. And one of the crew members actually, I think it might have been the operations officer, actually saw him walking across and saw the footprints. And it was a really emotional part of the movie because despite all of that pain and agony that he was going through, you know, and the stress in that moment of calm, he took off his shoes and you could see his blood because you see it on his fingers, and then he walks across the bridge, and it's really captivating.
Absolutely. And you know what's crazy about like World War II? The fact that they would drop the bodies in the ocean.
Well, so in that time when people die, you can't keep them on the ship. You can't. You have to do a burial at sea because you have to move on. You have to continue to fight.
Right.
You have to. And there's honestly no place to store them. They even said in the movie, you know, hey, we don't have any place to store these. What are we going to do with them? And the XO says, I can set up a burial at sea right now. And one thing that I do want to say is I liked how they showed the error in some action and how it didn't just. The body didn't just slide off of the board underneath the American flag. It was stuck. They had to sit there and jimmy it a little bit. And it showed that there is a realism to death.
Did you also notice that it was the main character, or not the main character, but one of the characters that the captain was invested in?
Which one was that?
Cleveland, messmate.
It was him? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that was him. I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
oh, man. That makes it so much more emotionally invested. Again, another way for them to emotionally invest you in this movie and just exhaust you from the feeling. Like, the acting in this movie truly was its pinnacle. And it made it to where you couldn't look away. I don't think I looked at my phone once in this movie. I don't think that I look away in this movie at all because it's just so bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, I had to check my heart rate. It wasn't good for my blood pressure.
I don't think it's good for anyone's blood pressure.
Absolutely not.
But can you imagine being in that situation?
That's what I said. Much respect to our military friends, man, because that is, it's crazy. Fun fact. The ship that they ended up using in the film, a lot of the close-up shots was actually shot on the USS Kidd, which is home to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Which is our home.
Hey. That was cool. So, Daniel, it's that time, man. Do you feel like this film is worthy of our good friends back at home getting stressed out over?
I would say that this film is definitely a watch. It gives you the reality of war and that kind of understanding of stress. So I would say that it gets an A in the aspect that it is real, it is exhausting, it is stressful. It does what a movie is supposed to do. It captivates you and it brings you into that realm and keeps you there. I mean, I felt like I was in World War II. I forgot that we're in, Florida.
Not only that, but, it has a level of realness to it because, like I said, being that you've served in the military, you were calling out all these different things. You're like, okay, when are they going to do that? I'm like, shut up, let me watch, please. Shut it up.
And as military members know, it's really hard to turn it off. Once you get trained like that, you watch military movies and you just start calling out stuff and you just know what's happening and you're like, oh no, that's wrong, and this. But this did had an accurate depiction of those events.
Very true, very true. I would say that if you love action, if you love historical stories, definitely go watch this film. I would have to give it a as well. And they crammed a whole lot into an hour and 30 minutes. So, well done, well done. You kept all of our attention, all of it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So once again, thank you to our good friend Colton. I'm serious. I'm sending you the bill, so get ready. It's coming.
For our therapy, because this
Absolutely.
was emotionally draining.
Absolutely, man. And don't try to be cheap with it, too. You need to pay separately for mine and separately for his. So, but all right, man. Thank you, guys. I think it's worthy of the Cridiculous Award.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Shout out to Tom Hanks for his wonderful acting. I'm always enthralled by your acting. We really appreciate what you do for the entertainment industry. And as always, salute to our service members and to everyone that sacrifices for our country.
Absolutely. So, folks, if you have any other suggestions of films or anything that you want us to watch, comment below and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, this is Raph.
And Daniel.
And thank you for watching Cridiculous. See you soon. I don't know what this was. Hey.